my review for the second Vinland Saga book, which also counts as volumes 3 and 4. Now, I have to say I enjoyed reading book 2 even more than I enjoyed book 1, and I really enjoyed book 1, and I was very happy with this volume. Now, book 2 actually starts off in a new timeline that we haven't seen yet. It starts off in 1008. Now, this takes place right in the middle of the two timelines we've seen before, where Thorfinn is, he's not a teenager yet, he's still a kid, but, he's growing and he's learning how to murder people. So yeah, he's being chased by wolves, he gets knocked out, and then he wakes up in a village where an old lady is taking care of him. And you can really tell that she actually cares about him, because when some dude comes up to check on her, he's like, "Who is this boy? We're looking for a boy who looks just like him." And she's like, "Oh, no, he's my son, you can leave." But then Askeladd and the Vikings come, they take Thorfinn back and, burn the village down. So this part of the story takes place during a time where the Danish Vikings were invading England. So basically they've been going around and pillaging every village they can find and taking more territory for the Danish king. So it jumps back to present day to the year 1013, where Askeladd and the Vikings are clashing with this other guy named Thorkell. It seems like every major character in the series has Thor in their name. Now, the Vikings are trying to pass under a bridge that Thorkell and his men are holding down, and yeah, so they have a big battle. Askeladd sends Thorfinn up to go deal with Thorkell, and they have this big old battle. Now these two are pretty badass, they're having a fight. Thorfinn ends up taking off 2 of Thorkell's fingers, however, he doesn't even care, it doesn't even look like it hurts him. Eventually the Vikings retreat, and you can see him wave, and his hand is all bloody, his fingers are missing. It's like, oh, that was a jolly good fight, I hope we'll do it again sometime soon. Now Thorfinn got hurt too, he dislocated his shoulder, but he just, punched it back into place like it never even happened. So eventually the Danish king, he's there sitting on the throne, he's like, yes, my son will have to take my place soon. I will make him in charge of all the battles because I'm lazy and he needs to man up. And in this book we get introduced to Prince Canute, who is, kind of a pussy. I mean, he relies heavily on his bodyguard dude. I mean, this guy barely even talks. The only time he really talked during this book is when he flipped out at Thorfinn, because, the two of them really don't like each other. Anyway, so yeah, Thorkell gets his hands on Canute, and then Askeladd and the Vikings go to rescue him. Anyway, so they do this, they set the forest on fire, which was pretty awesome. The art in this volume was really good. I really like that strategy of setting the forest on fire, and I thought it was pretty entertaining to see how both the sides got completely mixed up. Anyway, so once they get the prince there, off again, but the problem is that it is winter, and because it is the 11th century, if they don't find some shelter, they are pretty much dead. So at the end of this book, they end up finding this Christian village with a bunch of religious people. We see them around the table, they're saying grace, they're saying, in however many years, 20 years, on the 1000th anniversary of Jesus' resurrection, Judgment Day will come, and God will judge people, put them in heaven or hell. Anyway, but unfortunately for them, the Vikings burst in, and they round everyone up into the center of town, and they're like, what value do these guys actually have? If we do just let them be, then we'll have to, watch them and make sure nothing bad happens, so you know what, let's just kill them all! Which is, of course, what happens, it was kind of a brutal scene. I mean, the whole village just getting slaughtered, only so these fools could have a place to stay for the winter. But before the Vikings came, there was a young girl who snuck outside of her house, and it looks like she stole a ring or something, and then she escaped when the Vikings came, and she realized that her entire family and village got murdered. So she goes off alone in the snow. I don't know if she'll be an important character or not. I'm sure she will be important in the future, because if not, why else would they just focus on her for a couple of pages? Now, one part of this book takes us back to 1003, after the death of Thor's, when the people who were traveling with him, like Leif Erikson, they all come back home and tell his wife and daughter what happened. Now, his daughter Ylva doesn't seem fazed by it at first. She's kind of like, well, they're dead, no use crying over it. Thorfinn's mother has the exact opposite reaction, and she goes into super depression mode, and Ylva has to do everything, and she's a badass. She's out, harpooning whales, doing all the work. But at the end of the flashback, it's revealed she's crying. She's really torn up about this as well. And her doing all the work is basically just her way of coping with it. Now, I'm curious to see if we're going to get any more backstory from the 1003 stuff, because I'm interested to see if Thorfinn's village is still around. Like, does it still there? Is everything just normal? Leif Erikson, his mother, sister, all of them alright? I'm sure we'll find out, but I'm also very interested to see where the main storyline is going. I said Prince Canute is a pussy, although I do have a feeling that he is going to come out of his shell eventually and end up becoming the king. Although I kinda have a bad feeling about him. Like, he seems just because of how he was raised and how sheltered he is. Once he, you know, finally comes out of his shell, I'm really curious to see the type of man he'll be. So those were my thoughts on volumes 3 and 4, or book 2 of Vinland Saga. Really enjoying the series so far, guys. I have 3 more volumes to go, although, hold on, yeah, book 6 will be here in like 2 days or something, so cannot wait for that. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.